One of my favorite podcasts, or at least one of my favorite characters from a podcast, is Ask a Ninja. And earlier this week, I happened to run across a conversation, or rather an argument, between Ask a Ninja and Seymour, who sometimes appears in my weekly tech tips. And so I thought this conversation they had back and forth would be a good introduction to podcasting for this week's weekly tech tip. So enjoy this.
How many questions can you answer in one podcast? To be honest with you, if I drop into my super ninjistics, there's not a number high enough to count how many questions I can answer, but unfortunately, your head would explode. My friend Paul says he thinks samurais are better than ninjas. Does Paul make bad decisions? Paul? That guy makes terrible decisions.
Paul should ask if superheroes are better than ninjas.
If a ninja does anything anywhere, he doesn't make a sound. And if he does make a sound, it's probably going to be the last sound you ever hear.
Ninjas might be quick and hard to see, but they don't have superpowers like me. I mean, can a ninja fly, or shoot lasers out of their eyes, or melt metal with their minds, or make a good sandwich?
Sneak in late at night while you're sleeping. I tie a little tiny string around every hair on your body, and then I yank them all out at once. The look on your face is priceless. I mean, it is Saget worthy.
What I'm really interested in learning about is podcasting.
What is podcasting? People over the age of 12 have asked the ninja, what is podcasting? More confusing than Alan Greenspan's skiing backwards down a black hole made of Laffer curves. But then he comes across us, a podcast, every week, consistent content coming at him like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then if I kept doing that, you'd see it's on a regular basis. I go, yeah, but it's consistently coming at him like an apple pie. And if you're a whale and all you've ever eaten is shrimp, and then somebody gives you an apple pie, you're like, holy smokes, this is delicious. And then when you find out that there's a factory that produces apple pies every week, then those whales just line up outside the factory, and then we feed them apple pie. That's the simplest way to explain it. We are a factory that produces apple pies for whales. That doesn't even make sense.
The ninja is not quite correct in his explanation, although how entertaining it is, he actually does get the gist of the idea. What podcasts are, if you're not familiar, is a podcast is a steady stream of content. So, you do have, like the apple pies, content coming at you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
in this case, it's audio files. You have audio or video files that are stored online and in a place where you can subscribe to them, much like you can subscribe to a magazine that comes to your house. You can subscribe to a podcast or a vodcast. And so a podcast is not an audio file. A podcast is a term used to describe that stream of information coming at you, or the subscription. So, there's a difference between a magazine and a magazine subscription. The same is the difference between a podcast and an audio file, or a video file. A podcast and a clip.
Complicated.
So, if you get into real nuts and bolts of how that works, how the RSS feed works, how the files get stored, it can get a little complicated. But it doesn't need to be. So I'm going to show you a couple really easy ways that you can engage in podcasting with your students, or yourself as a teacher, or however you feel like you might fit this into your life. So today I'm just going to show you 4 tools that make podcasting rather simple. And these are just going to be 4 audio podcasting tools. In a later tech tip, I'll show you some tools for video podcasting. So the first one here is Podbean, and what Podbean is kind of like a blog. If you're familiar with blogging already, it's set up almost identical to how a blog works, except that when you attach, you can attach audio files to your posts, to your blog posts, and in doing so, it creates a podcast. You get the same RSS feed that is created with Podbean becomes your RSS feed for your podcast. And I'm not going to go through setting this up today to show you how that works. It's pretty simple, just like any other site. You sign up, you fill out the form, and you just do what it says on the screen. And it'll create a free podcast for you. Another one is that I wanted to show today is Gabcast. This is one that will allow you to create podcasts via the phone. So you create your account on Gabcast. It will set up a podcast for you, and the way you post to it is you call a phone number they give you and enter a code, and whatever you say into the recording will become your podcast. And this is a great tool you could use with students who you want to have podcasting, or even assign podcasting as homework for them, and say, even if they don't have a computer at home, they can do this from any phone, a cell phone, a landline, anything. It's a toll-free number they give you, and it will create a decent podcast when you're done. Another one similar to Gabcast is AudioPal. And what AudioPal does is it allows you to create audio recordings either by phone, by typing what you want to say, doing text-to-speech, or recording with a computer microphone. So AudioPal allows a whole bunch of different options for you. And with AudioPal, it doesn't really create a podcast so much as it creates just audio files. So, while this isn't strictly a podcasting tool, it is a tool for creating audio files, which you could then upload to Podbean for a podcast. Another similar one, and which I think is the most simple of all these tools, is Vocaroo. And Vocaroo is a similar tool to AudioPal, except that it just has one button. You go to this website, it's one button. Click to record. You click record, and you speak what you want to say. It'll record your voice. When you hit stop, when you're done, and when you hit stop, it'll give you an option to publish it. If you publish it, it gives you a link to where you can find the file, and it'll also give you an embed code if you want to place it into a website. But you can have this is a website you can have kids go create recordings as assignments, and then just ask you to send in the link to the published file. And it's a strange enough file or URL path that it won't really be searchable by any modern search engine. Until they create a search engine that can search the audio content of the audio files. Everything should be pretty secure on this. So these are 4 tools that make audio recording and podcasting really simple: Vocaroo, AudioPal, Gabcast, and Podbean.
Okay, but why would I even want to podcast in the first place? I thought podcasting was hard and confusing, but if a ninja can do it, I guess a superhero can.
Can you please do a podcast about socks? No.